Hey guys, it's been a while, I know, so if you're watching this video, thanks for coming back, and if you're new, then welcome to the channel. My name is Duncan, and today I want to show you this interesting little scooter. It's called the Urbetter M8, and I think you'll find it has some unique qualities as far as entry-level e-scooters go. But is it all good? Let's take a look. Now, if you've watched any of my most recent previous videos, you'll know that I'm actually trying to move away from reviewing what would be classed as entry-level e-scooters. The reason being that most entry-level scooters, they're just all too similar these days. Most of them are just copies and clones of the Xiaomi e-scooters, and basically, when you've seen one, you've seen them all, albeit that the build quality can sometimes vary. Well, I'm not going over that. But when Urbetter approached me to do a review on this scooter, I took one look at it and I jumped at the chance because, I mean, come on, check this little bad boy out, it looks pretty cool. The first thing that you might notice is that unlike most other e-scooters, the Urbetter M8 does not have a traditional deck to stand on, but instead has these retractable footrests at either side, which makes for a very unique ride experience. And with me being about 6 foot 1 inches tall, I think the lower centre of gravity should help with turning and general balance. However, the most exciting thing for me about this scooter is probably the addition of an actual seat. And if you know me, you know I've been dying for an e-scooter with a seat. And although I did recently review the August M5 Pro, the downside to that scooter was that it could only be ridden sitting down. The design of that scooter meant that standing up was just not practical at all, especially for someone of my height. No problems here with the Urbetter M8 though. You can very easily switch between standing or sitting with no issues at all. The seat can be left on no matter what way that you want to ride, but the seat can also be folded into the deck well or removed completely without any hassles. It takes about 30 seconds to attach or remove the seat. If you want to fold the seat into the well, then there's a little quick release clip that will allow you to do that. So you can very easily transition between having an e-scooter and an e-bike. This scooter has the standard 3 power levels that most scooters have, you know, eco, normal and sports mode. Maximum speed in sports mode here is only 15.5 miles per hour, which is the legal speed limit for scooters in Europe, and it should be more than sufficient for general commuting. This is rear wheel drive with a power output of 350 watts. Wheelies are actually possible with this scooter, but I won't be demonstrating that today because 2 broken arms in the space of 2 years is quite enough for me. I'm not keen on it happening again. The 518 watt hour battery pack is hidden behind the side storage bags here, which they say has a top range of 28 miles, but we'll definitely get back to that claim later after I've put this to the test. On this scooter, we have both front and rear braking, drum brakes at the front and electronic brakes at the rear. So let's do some testing, find out what all the positives and negatives are of the Urbetter M8. So the seat is height adjustable, foldable and removable, any of which can be done in seconds. With the seat removed, you can fold down the handlebars much like any other e-scooter. A nice little feature of the seat is that it has a hydraulic suspension built in, so it does have a little bit of bounce to it when you're riding over any bumps. The seat has an average amount of padding, and overall it makes for a comfortable enough ride. No complaints with the quality of the actual seat at all. This thing looks like it'll take an absolute beating. In fact, it looks as if you could throw this thing down a flight of stairs and it would still be perfectly okay with that. It weighs 16 kilos, which is, you know, pretty standard weight, maybe on the lighter side for an everyday scooter. And I do really like the idea of having these side storage pockets, which is a good place maybe to keep the charger, which you may need to take with you. You could carry tools or, you know, any other bits and pieces. As long as you don't have the seat folded into the well, you can use this area for extra storage. But it would have been nice if they'd given me the advertised large storage box, which I can show you and here in the promo video. But unfortunately, I didn't receive it with my package, which I believe was down to manufacturing issues. I've been told that this will be resolved by the time the scooter is released for sale. Yep, this scooter is not even officially out yet. Not at the time when we're recording this video anyway, it could be by the time I've uploaded it. So I'm not sure if what I have here is like a prototype or if this is exactly what the retail version will be like. You can find the full details of the Urbetter M8 on their Kickstarter page, link is in the description, but there are a few, how do I put it, exaggerations and claims that you should be aware of, not least of all the range. Because in my experience, this scooter doesn't even come close to the range that they claim. 28 miles, 45 kilometers, no chance, absolutely no chance. I mean, in my testing, I couldn't even get half that range. I'm talking like 8 miles range tops, like not 28. Albeit I've only driven in the highest power mode, so I guess using eco mode you might get close to the claim of 28 miles range, but I'm doubting it very much. The fact is, most people will not be using eco mode because you would just be quicker walking. I mean, I would say that the top range in sports mode is what most people care about, and here you're going to be severely disappointed. I think I'm turning back already. I'm down to pretty much half battery. I've only done 1 mile, 1.2 miles. What's really funny to me is that on their Kickstarter page, where they make the claim that for daily commuting, you would only need to charge this once per week, which is only going to be true if you travel less than 2 miles in total per day. And I don't think you would be buying an e-scooter to travel such little distance, but you know, I could be wrong. Not to mention that the uphill capabilities of this scooter is extremely poor. I mean, I think they were being honest by quoting a maximum incline of 15 degrees, because for sure anything more than that, this scooter will slow down to a halt, and you know, trying to go uphill will very quickly drain this battery and make the range even worse than it is. In fact, for a 350 watt motor, the scooter really does struggle across any type of rough terrain. Grass is also a nightmare for this scooter. Doesn't like grass at all. You can literally feel the drain on the battery as it struggles to push through what feels like glue. I mean, this is why I think my initial range test was so bad, because to get to the coastal trail I wanted to ride on, I first had to cross this flat grass area, which is only a few hundred feet, but by the time I'd reached the path, I'd already lost 25% of the battery. Like, I kid you not. Which is super surprising because the old Xiaomi e-scooters with just a 250 and 300 watt motors, they do not struggle as much as this thing does. Definitely something worth noting. These flappy footrest pedal things, something which I was super excited to try out. In reality, I didn't find very comfortable at all. In fact, all the time it just felt weird to me. I couldn't really get used to them at all. I will admit that when sitting down to ride, the foot pedals are okay, but standing up, it's like, I don't know, the balance was just off, you know? I think maybe in large part to my height, me being so tall, but it just feels very twitchy and unstable for me. Maybe just need more time to adjust to this style of riding, but to compound matters even more, the steering just felt very sensitive. You really do have to lean into turns with this scooter because the slightest turn of the handlebars makes the front wheel want to do that like death wobble thing. And if you're not experienced with e-scooters, this could really catch you off guard and, you know, you're going to have a nasty fall. The wheels are a respectable 10 inches, air-filled tyres, and they claim to be puncture-proof. However, there is no suspension or shocks on this scooter, and I can tell you now that you really don't want to ride this thing on anything other than flat, smooth surfaces. I mean, paths like this are just fine, But as soon as you hit grass, gravel, bumpy trails, etc., you're going to be in for a pretty rough ride here, and I don't think you would be having fun. This scooter is definitely built for flat city environments. It's not going to work in the countryside or for any kind of exploration. If you're planning on riding at night, the M8 does come with a decent 300 lumens front headlight, which I think is more than sufficient for most people. We also have a rear brake light and reflectors. However, I think there's a little bit of a design flaw putting reflectors here on the side. They seem a bit pointless given the fact that when you're riding, these reflectors will be completely blocked by your feet. So for aesthetics, yeah, I get it, but for practicality, no. Now, charging this scooter shouldn't take more than 6 hours from flat. That's once you actually find where the charging port is. I mean, I spent a few minutes scratching my head trying to find the charging port, which is located here. It does have a nice little rubber cap to keep it clean and from water getting in, but all in all, I'm not a fan of the charging port location, but that's just personal preference. It's not really a big deal. Moving on to the handlebars, they are actually pretty good build quality, although very basic. You've got a standard thumb control here on the right hand side and a very simple speedometer on the left hand side. Now the speedometer is very limited. It will only show you the speed, the gear that you're using and how much battery you have left. You can use the plus and minus keys to change gear. So like I said, Eco, Drive and Sports, that would be gear 1, 2 or 3, which is 6 miles per hour, 12 miles per hour or 15 miles per hour respectively. You'll find the scooter power button on the top here to switch the scooter on and off. What I do like is that there is a little button here which not only turns the lights on and off, but if you hold this button in, it'll activate something called walk mode, which means that if you're having to push this scooter up a hill, which is going to happen, you can hold this button and it will help you push by giving you a little bit of assisted power, which you will appreciate if you buy this scooter because you certainly won't get up any hills just riding normally. I can assure you that. Behind the speedometer, we have a bell, which is alright, I guess. And then we have just one brake lever that when squeezed will initiate both the front drum brake and the rear e-brake at the same time. The brakes, I would say, are sufficient, but they're definitely not great. This little clip that you see here, well, this is for when you fold the handlebars for carrying. The actual folding bracket on the stem is very good. It feels solid, there's no play in it at all. However, when you do attach this clip to the rear of the scooter and you go to carry it, well, you need to be super careful because the slightest little bump or sudden movement, that's what happens, like every time. It's so annoying. But if you do manage to make it to the car in one piece, this scooter will easily fit in the boot. Now, let me go back to what it actually feels like riding this scooter. In short, it's not great, like not for me anyway. You see, sitting down on this thing, it just feels like, I don't know, like it feels wrong. It's like, it's not really comfortable at all. Now, I could alleviate this somewhat by raising the height of the seat a little bit, but it's not enough to make this a fun, pleasant ride. Unlike the August M5 Pro, there is nothing about riding the Urbetter M8 that feels natural. I would say that it feels awkward and you kind of feel lazy for even trying to sit down on this thing. The August M5 Pro was actually one of my favourite e-scooters just because of the feeling that you had when riding it. It was fun, it was smooth on all surfaces, especially with its large 12.5-inch tyres. It was fast enough, the seat was super comfy with a lot more padding on it, and it felt like riding a wee electric motorbike. It was great. However, here on the Urbetter M8, with its awkward seat position, awkward standing position, weak power, smaller wheels, twitchy steering, it was all just a bit disappointing for me, to be honest. But the absolute worst thing for me about this scooter is the range. Like, it is abysmal. I mean, I have a good place here for testing e-scooters. I have a nice coastal trail that runs to the neighbouring village of Blackness. It's about 4 miles there, 4 miles back, and it has a good mix of flat, smooth tarmac, gravel, rocky, sandy paths. We've got some mud, got some dirt, got some woodland, etc. It's a great mix, perfect for testing out e-scooters. It's a journey that all e-scooters so far have managed without any issues. Not the Urbetter M8 though. I mean, this thing didn't even make it halfway to the village, never mind making it back. I mean, by the time I had done 1.8 miles, the battery was less than 50%. And so I decided to head back, and sure enough, the battery was flat just as I arrived back at my start position. I got a grand total of 3.4 miles from a full charge. And I'm pretty sure that riding on that grass at the start of the journey is what killed it. So, a top range of 28 miles? I don't think so. I mean, maybe if you're riding only in eco mode, going at a top speed of 6 miles an hour, but like, who's going to want to do that? I don't even want to test to see if I can do 28 miles in eco mode, because like, if my maths is correct, that would be 4 hours and 40 minutes journey, and
ain't nobody got time for that.
So in conclusion, if you only plan to ride on flat, smooth tarmac, short distances, and don't care about going fast, if you really want an e-scooter that allows for standing up and sitting down, then maybe this is the e-scooter for you. But to be honest guys, I think the base version of this scooter is being sold for around $569. That's about 440 Great British pounds. And even for that price, there's much better alternatives out there, especially if you shop around online. I mean, what do you guys think? After watching this video, what is your first impressions? I mean, am I being too harsh here? Because there are things that I like about this scooter. It's just that for every unique thing that I like, there also comes this, major downside. Like, it's quite lightweight, but doesn't go very far. It has a seat, but it feels lazy, awkward, and it's not comfortable. It has these cool looking flappy foot stands, but it just feels weird standing on them, and it feels twitchy and unbalanced. But I guess the nail in the coffin for me is actually the design itself. I mean, I won't lie, it was the design that initially had me very excited about this scooter. The tubular frame design in combination with the storage options. I love the look of the side pockets and the large mounted storage box that I never received to be able to try out. And something else I feel like I should tell you is that this is hands down the worst scooter I've ever ridden when it comes to collecting dirt and mud. Like honestly, not only does the muck get all up in the frame design, big chunks of crap getting clogged up all over the place, but cleaning this thing is just going to be a pain in the ass because there's just so much fabric. I mean, going over any small puddles or patches of mud is going to instantly make a mess of this scooter. It will just spray directly onto the fabric, and it means that you have to take all of this off, take it apart, unrip the Velcro, and then put it in the washing machine?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And I'm not sure that spraying down the metal frame would be a good idea because it's only IP55 rated, so it's not completely waterproof, it's only splash proof. So look guys, if you do want to know more about this scooter, I will leave the Kickstarter link in the description. They have a lot more information over there, but I think I've made my opinion pretty clear. Before getting my hands on this scooter, I was super excited about it, and after trying it out in real life, it quickly became my least favourite scooter. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'll always try and get back to everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Stay safe out there, be excellent to each other, and